I'm Gary Hess, News Radio WRVA, the voice of Virginia.
Speaking of Marivola, he'll join us in about a half hour from now here on Richmond's Morning News. Got a lot of things people have asked about, a lot about taxes, a lot about utility bills and disputes, and something about the Coliseum as well. So all those questions will be asked of Danny Avola when he joins us coming up at 7:33. All right, I do need to bring this up because I've got a lot of text messages. Oh, that's an interesting text message. I got a lot of text messages that are popping up right now on the text line. Some of you people are pretty funny. A lot of these are about Anthony Fauci and our coverage yesterday. So I did want to bring up a couple of these because I got hammered yesterday by people. And then when I went to go look for the emails to respond back to them, some of them legitimately just didn't leave an email address, so I can't respond back to you in person. And I try to respond back to as many as I can. Some were IP addresses that were foreign. I mean, maybe you were using a VPN to go through Bulgaria or whatever, but a lot of them looked kind of sketchy where they were coming from. But I wanted to kind of lay this out for you. I mean, yesterday, this is basically what we heard. It would have been actually more entertaining if I would have heard this version of pleading the fifth rather than the 111 times that Anthony Fauci pled the fifth. It would have been better if we could have heard him, if we would have heard him plead the fifth like this.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, Anthony Fauci just sat there, his hands trembling as he read his note. I went back and I watched it over and over, different versions on YouTube last night. Hands trembling as he read his accusations that this was just a witch hunt. It was Rand Paul with a vendetta against him. And that's all this was. And they're trying to trap him. So I'm not going to speak. Okay, that's your constitutional right. But as the Republican said, listen, Dr. Fauci, we've seen your diaries, and he complained that you're just doing that to embarrass me. Okay. If it's embarrassing, do you not own what you wrote in there? Where you're like, I'm on the cover of this magazine, and I met Julia Roberts, and I convinced Cuomo and Gavin Newsom to shut everything down. Are those or those not your words? I get it's your private diary. I saw somebody on the left just being furious. That's his private diary. That's such an insult. What's a bigger insult? What the American people went through, or the Dr. Fauci now is laying bare everything that he talked about and what his mindset was during all of that? Here's Tommy Tuberville, Alabama senator. Here's what he had to say about Fauci yesterday at Capitol Hill.
He hurt trust in this country. He put this country in a tailspin. He almost bankrupted our country with what they did. Between Obama and Biden, this guy gets Weasel of the Year award.
Weasel of the Year award. That's how a lot of people feel. Here's what I will tell you, though. Weasel of the Year award doesn't equate war criminal. And a lot of people are yelling, screaming war criminal last night. So I did some research when I got home yesterday. And here's what I could tell you. When Anthony Fauci was head of NIH, they gave grants. One of those grants went to Ecolab Alliance, and that alliance then sent money over to the Wuhan virology lab. I think that's it. I'm going to mispronounce it. It was sent over to that Wuhan lab that they think, and pretty much everybody's kind of figured out, that the COVID-19 virus escaped from. Then who knows where it went from there. But there is a direct line, but there is a firewall between the two. Fauci has said, no, we're not doing gain of function research. Well, he gave money to somebody who did that, but so he does have a firewall right there for plausible deniability. And that's where it's so frustrating. But a lot of people have tried to connect gain of function research with weaponization of viruses, and they're two different things. Creating viruses that you use for bioweapons is against the law. Nobody's supposed to be doing that. It's an international crime. If he was doing that and you could prove it, yes. But gain-of-function research is far different from what people were accusing him of yesterday, all over social media and all over our text message. Again, I'm just as frustrated with it as anybody. And COVID hurt me personally, my family, set us back, and we're still trying to recover from the losses we took during COVID, losing our jobs, having to move. It was awful. And Dr. Fauci is responsible for a lot of pain and suffering my family went through, but that doesn't mean that I'm looking for vengeance on this radio show. Plenty of frustration, but I keep telling everybody frustration is concentration over something that's already happened. And when we get frustrated on the right, then we allow the left to pick apart our frustrated emotional responses the same way I'm able to pick off every one of theirs, because most of theirs is built on emotions and not logic. And as far as the pardon goes, somebody was yelling, screaming, they could compel him. They need lawyers in there. Are you telling him there's so many lawyers sitting in there? There's lawyers for days in there on both sides. And if somebody was able to be Harvey Specter or Mike Ross would be the smartest lawyers in the world, they would have found a way to poke through all of that, but they weren't. He's got a pardon. Now, you can fight about the pardons all you want. Do I think Joe Biden knew who was getting pardoned? Probably not. Can I prove that? Absolutely not. Was it signed by the auto pen? Yep. Is that legal to sign by the auto pen? Yep. Is it legitimate to sign by the auto pen? I don't think so. But what I think and what I know are two different things. If for Anthony Fauci, he's got that get out of jail free card. We can the committee can vote to hold him in contempt of Congress, but in order for that to have any teeth, it's got to go to the full Senate. You got to get 60 votes. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. And if you want to fight the pardon, well, you're going to have to create precedent right now, and there's none out there. So again, this is all frustrating because you and I know what the truth is, or at least what we think the truth is, but we can't find out because the guy has that get out of jail free card thanks to the Biden administration, if not Joe Biden himself. So the frustration just bubbles up more and more and more and more. And I feel your frustration. I really do, because I'm just as frustrated. But I can't do anything about what's happened in the past. I can look forward to see what we can see. I think the American people will stand up and demand more from their scientists and more from their politicians. I think that Anthony Fauci, the biggest thing that he did, even more than what he's done personally to me and my family, is his biggest legacy is going to be sitting there for a guy who was once hailed as above all else and a superhero, a superhero who's saving all of us, to a man standing there having to invoke the fifth 111 times. His credibility is shot. His place in history will be forever changed. I told you I went to the Smithsonian on Sunday, and they actually had his mask in there celebrating Anthony Fauci as such an icon of American history. I think he'll go down as an icon in American history in a completely different way than he's portrayed in the Smithsonian today after yesterday's hearing. I think people are going to ask questions. Dr. Fauci, if everything you did was so spot on correctly, why are you taking the fifth? I'm not saying you're not allowed to take the fifth, but certainly it hurts your credibility in the court of public opinion, not in legal standings, but in the court of public opinion. I think now it's open game to be able to ask questions. Dr. Fauci, what did you know? When did you know it? How did you decide this? How did we decide that we were going to have 6 feet apart? How did you decide we all needed to wear masks? And why in the world did somebody come up with that decision to shut everything down, including keeping our kids out of school? That's now all legitimate because you wouldn't answer the questions yesterday before Congress, when in 2022 you bragged, I'll go before any committee, I'll go before anybody and answer any question, anytime, anywhere, any place, you name it, I'll answer it. Then when that finally came, he pled the fifth. He pled the fifth. It's actually disappointing to see the emperor with no clothes before the United States and the American people. Now, there are people that are going to stand there and say, no, Dr. Fauci, you're a hero. There are senators that were thanking him all day long. Dr. Fauci, thank you for your 50 years of service to this country. There are others that are pointing out you're the highest paid person in the American government, and now you're worth $13 million. and you won't answer these questions, Dr. Fauci? What's that say about you today in 2026? I just know I watched it, and you saw either the look of disdain on his face, the look of embarrassment on his face, and a look of a guy who is a lot less confident than the last time I saw him standing there telling us to mask up and stay 6 feet apart. His legacy will continue to change and morph as more questions and more answers will finally be found out at the end of the day. Dr. Fauci, I think history hasn't finished writing its chapter about you. You guys want to comment? Was that worthwhile yesterday? I guess that's my big question. Was it worthwhile, or was it a waste of time? Some people say it's a waste of time. I think it was actually very enlightening, because you saw how the Democrats are going to fall over themselves and not even ask a simple question that we all want to know. Where did it really come from? And if the Democrats can't even ask that question, then all right, we know where you're coming from. And for Dr. Fauci, you refuse to answer any questions. What are you hiding? Doesn't mean you're guilty, but it does allow me to ask the question, what are you hiding? You guys want to comment? We'll read the best ones coming up. 6:55, 7:55, 8:55 is when we read them. And then 9:33, I do want to know, how did Dr. Fauci's leadership during COVID affect your family? Did it hurt it? Is there anything that still has a residual going on? 833-804-1140 on the James River Air text line. All right, today's program is brought to you by my friends